The following contains scenes of suicide attempt and mention of death. Viewer discretion is advised.
Episode 5, Noel Rae.
For a while, everything was great. I had a good home, good parents, and I even had published poems in the school newspaper. I was born on the night of Christmas, and after I was taken home, a group of carolers came to the front door and sang the first Noel. Although it was about the birth of Jesus Christ, they named me after the song, since I was their firstborn, and they called me the Child of Light. I am a writer, and I've written many poems, stories, and editorials for the school newspaper. I had a section of the wall above my bed that said, "Home is where the heart is." It's something I had always lived by, and years ago I decided to write it down on the wall with a laser utensil. One day, I was at school, looking at the electronic bulletin board in the hall. It was one of those fancy touchscreen boards. I saw an announcement that said, due to our funds being invested into new equipment, we have to cut off funding for the following clubs: anime, newspaper, book, and cosmetics. We apologize for this inconvenience. I was shocked. I couldn't understand why they would do that to the newspaper club. Shortly after, I saw Ashley come around the corner with her prissy walk, as I called it. Her long brown hair, her green eyes, her beautiful smile. She had it all.
Oh, you heard about the newspaper club? Yeah, no one reads the newspaper anymore. It's not even paper. I mean, it's just chips you put in a tablet, right? The stories are boring. Now, what you need is a good story. So don't worry, I'll find you one.
Really? Thanks. The bell rang and we went to class. After school, we walked outside as the buses were lining up to the front lot. Out of nowhere, a guy ran up to me and kissed me quickly on the lips as he swiftly ran off.
Yeah, that was awesome!
I started blushing and quickly ran into the bus with Ashley. She sat next to me.
I think you have a stalker.
Yeah, that guy was creepy. I hope I never see him again. As soon as I got home, I picked up the electronic tablet. Then I started writing. I always wrote about comparisons between objects and life. After a while, I got tired and went to bed. The next morning, as I walked through the front doors entering the school lobby, I saw all eyes on me. Laughter erupted from everyone I saw, even Ashley. Someone came up to me laughing in my face and gave me the latest issue of the school newspaper. The featured article went something like, "Noel Rae kisses random strangers. Yes, if you walk up to her and give her a kiss, she'll love it." As soon as I read that, it was almost like my hands went numb and everything stopped. I was devastated. As if it wasn't enough that Ashley was laughing with everyone, I realized that she was the one who published the story.
She's so gullible.
Honestly, looking back on it, I should have known better than to trust her. The article went on, but I didn't bother to continue reading it. I threw the newspaper down and walked outside. I cried for a while as I walked home, which took hours. When I got home, I slept for quite a while. When I woke up, it was night. I decided to take another walk to try and clear my mind. I was gone for an hour before I came back. To my surprise, as I approached the complex, I saw police cars outside. As I approached my place, I noticed a couple of police officers standing in front of the door. with yellow tape around it. I knew something was horribly wrong, and that scared me. I ran up to one of the police officers and asked what had happened. "Excuse me, sir? What happened here?"
Are you a resident here, ma'am?
"Yes, I'm the daughter. Why?" The look on the officer's face turned into a dramatic frown.
Very sorry to tell you this, but your parents were shot down.
I stood there in shock and awe, staring at the police officer until my eyes filled with tears. I walked into his arms and cried harder than I ever have. I lost strength in my legs and fell to my knees. Everything he said to me after he broke the news sounded muffled. It was like I couldn't hear him. Even though I could, I wasn't able to process anything he was saying. My dad was a police officer, which is why he was gone for a lot of the time. I always worried that someday something like this would happen to him. My parents were good people. They didn't do anything to deserve that. That was the worst day of my life. First, I got embarrassed in front of everyone at school. Then the people I loved the most were taken from me. The people who killed them, they were never caught. They're still out there.
Do you have a place to stay?
Yeah. The truth was, I didn't. We got into his car and I asked him to drop me off at some random person's house, which he thought was where I lived, as he had something urgent to take care of. I knew nearby was a bridge in the interstate, hanging above a river. I walked to the bridge and looked over it, seeing the dark and murky waters below. I stepped on the edge of the side, closed my eyes, and leaned forward as the weight of my body pulled me down. I fell through 50 feet of cold air rushing against me as I plummeted into the river, embracing the piercing cold of the black depths. I fell into a deep sleep, hoping to never wake up. But rather than death taking my soul, I became unconscious with my eyes shyly opening to the visuals of blurry lighting.
Oh, you're awake. Thank God.
My sight sharpened slightly. Well, enough to see that I was in bed. Looking to the right, I saw a man. He was sitting in a chair. As I became more awake, I realized that I was in a house, and I was cold and soaking wet. I asked the first thing that came to mind. Who are you?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Ryan. I was walking around the lake when I saw you floating in the water. I swam to you to bring you to shore, then I gave you CPR. You coughed up some water and your heart was beating, but you were still unconscious. I carried you to my truck and brought you here to see if you would eventually wake up, and I'm glad you did. I bet your parents are worried about you.
As I looked at him, my eyes began to widen. And when I thought all my crying was done, I cried again as I took the time to explain to him the worst day of my life.
Do you know why your parents were killed?
Well, I only found out they got shot. With my mom being a judge and dad being a cop, I can only imagine how many people were after them in the first place. Most likely some maniac criminals.
Oh, you poor girl.
I just couldn't take it. I don't want to suffer anymore. It was them and other things. All the worst things happened on the same day.
I'm sorry to hear that. I've had days like that. I can't say I've been through what you have, though I can imagine it's terrible. Hey, listen, in the meantime, I'll be here for you while we figure things out, okay?
Okay.
Actually, I've got an idea. I'll be right back.
When he came back, he gave me a brochure for medicine called Iris. After reading through it, it sounded like it was just what I needed. but I was a bit unsure and a bit scared.
I know. I was a bit skeptical at first too, but whatever you're thinking, trust me, it's not that bad. Quite frankly, it's helped me a lot with stress in my job. It's like a stabilizer, sort of. I mean, the stuff you see is pretty incredible. The stuff you dream about. You won't have to see or feel what's around you as much anymore. With this, you'll be able to see what you want to see. It'll take away your pain, and it's not unhealthy either.
This isn't illegal or something I have to be in a certain age for, right?
Well, technically you have to be over 13, but hey, you're well over that, I can tell. I just hate to see a kid like you be put on those silly antidepressants or some other psychological drug that gives you those horrible side effects. This is actually supposed to replace antidepressants. I promise it won't hurt you. If I had kids, I'd give them the same thing if they were dealing with depression, trauma, or something related.
No, I can't let you pay for this. It's too much.
Oh, nonsense. I have a friend in Chicago who will give you some for free. No trouble at all.
Well, after hearing that, I decided to go through with it. I wasn't willing to live through any of this anymore. I couldn't. I had to get my mind off of it somehow. We caught a flight to Chicago and arrived a couple hours later. When we arrived at his friend's house, he explained the risks and proper use. All of the details I needed to know, really. After I got a bottle and left, Ryan and I toured around Chicago and decided to stay in a hotel for a few days until I felt comfortable leaving.
Yeah, Marvin? Hi, it's Ryan. Hey, I'm in a bit of a situation. I'm out of town regarding an emergency situation. I won't be able to be there tomorrow, sadly. Yeah, I'll be back the day after. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you. You too. Goodbye.
He called in his work and took a day off.
Well, that's taken care of. So how about it? You ready to test this thing out? The medicine, I mean.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm kind of scared.
It's perfectly fine to be scared. I was a bit nervous when I started taking this stuff too. It really works. It's incredible. I just want to see it do the same thing for you. You deserve to be happy, Noel. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. I'll be right here watching you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm ready. I've never really met a man as nice as him, except for my dad. While I was in the room sitting on my bed, I decided that it was time to try this stuff out. I was a little worried. I slowly injected myself nervously and waited to see what would happen next. I closed my eyes and fell asleep. I saw nothing but myself in a wide vastness of space. I freaked out at first. I couldn't see my shadow. Something wasn't right here.